Hello, guys, and welcome to the Leading Minds podcast. This is episode 15. We have managed to get back on track and get so many more podcasts in such a short space of time. Again, thank you so much for your patience with us. Sorry I wasn't here for the last episode. I was out filming I guess you could call it a documentary, which we're doing the first kind of standalone piece that I've done for Leading Minds. And no doubt Shazad and myself will be doing more of this throughout the years to come. But I'm really excited for you guys to see this. It is centered around Black History Month and the mental health issues that the Black community face, whether it be from a single person's perspective or a business perspective as well. I was out in Hackney at Black Eats London, which was an incredible event. And if you follow Black Eats London on Instagram, you can see when they have their next event, which I think will be on the 22nd. All Black-owned businesses. Food, clothes, drinks, all sorts. It was a really amazing event, and I'm really excited to show you guys the piece of content that we made around that as well. But we are here today with an incredible guest, Mardoche. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
The topic we are speaking about today is one that is taboo. It is a underworld which in specifically the African culture is not talked about a lot. And I think it's going to fascinate you guys. It certainly fascinates me, so I'm really excited to speak about this one. Let's go. Let's talk.
Yes.
Mardoche, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank you.
A lot of people are aware of the fact that culturally, especially when it comes to mental health, when it comes to abuse, and especially the topic that we're going to be talking about today, that taboo exists. We don't talk about it. We don't bring it up. We just get on with it. But your story is an extreme example of when faith and culture combine from a toxic perspective. And I really want to drill deep into everything that you've experienced and how you've come out of it to become a motivational speaker now.
Yes.
So I'm going to give a bit of a highlight as to what your situation was, and allow you then to drill a lot deeper. We're talking about a story of child abuse.
Yes.
From a cultural and faith perspective.
Yeah.
We're talking about witchcraft. We're talking about exorcisms.
Yeah.
All happening to a 7-year-old child. Mardoche, let's start from the beginning.
Yes.
You were born in 1991
Yes.
in Congo.
Yes.
What was your upbringing like? What was your family life like? What's your earliest recollection?
Early days in Africa, we didn't really have like money-wise enough money. So in Africa, it's like my dad he earned his business like selling clothes, but it was like with my sibling, it was like, I think it was 7, 8 of us, and then he had my mom's sister, my daddy's mom, so he had to like provide food for everyone. So it's like it's really difficult just to get a meal. So his mission was just to get a meal one day, for just one meal for
Each of you.
So it was tough because it's like every day you wake up you're always hungry, you're always hungry. So, and the thing is like, even like I can say it's like the environment which born in, if it's like I remember a situation when I went to school, and normally the teacher sells like food, right? And the sales is like peanut, and I can't say the word in English, but you mix it together and then you eat it. It's really nice. So I borrowed it from a teacher. Well, I borrowed it from a teacher, and the teacher said, if you owe me, so if you don't pay me back tomorrow, you get beat.
Oh my God.
Then I said, yeah, I'll pay you tomorrow. I'm hungry, I just need to eat.
Yeah.
And then I borrowed it, and the next day, and then the teacher said, where's my money? I said, I don't have it, just beat me. But that's the thing we have to live every day. It's like
Mhm.
just food, you know, that mean a lot to us. You know, food and just a roof underneath us. That's mean a lot. You know, just to get by. So literally every day, just to get by. That's how it's just surviving.
You're not living, like you said, you're
Yeah.
surviving.
There's no
surviving.
welfare state. There's no government handouts.
No,
nothing like that. It
no
is day to day,
government, no.
literally, isn't it?
No, it's no government's helping us. It's like there's no like places or food bank we can go to. There's none of that. So I think from the moment you realize that, you just like, this is the way of life. So we have to just live with it. So you can't complain. You can't say, oh, yeah, the government or this. You can't, because the government won't care.
Yeah.
So we just have to, we have to find a way to survive.
Yeah.
Every day. You're just trying to get food every day.
Now, your dad was a pastor
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
I think one of your happiest memories is being in church with your father.
It was, yeah, because the church we was going, it's like 3 hours, like we just walk every day. That's like
Every day you would go.
no, every Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, every Sunday. Sorry, and that's kind of, it gave us like discipline and going church. It kind of, you know, you learn so much. You just, as a young kid, you don't really realize it, but it's so much lesson is taken, like just patient and, you know. And now later on in your life, when you get older, you realize that all them lessons, the environment that kind of shape you, you know.
What was it about church that you kind of loved the most?
I think when we went to church, it's like, I mean, after that I got to it was a friend that we used to, after church we go to their house. They always had a lot of food, and they live close to the sea, so that's what I always enjoy that every.
I can tell you're smiling so much
Those
now.
memories are coming back, right?
Nostalgia.
Yeah, it was just like food, like, you know, it was just, it's like that, like every Sunday and Christmas, no, after Christmas, in the New Year's Day, you literally get food, like you can eat, like you get, like, literally you will look food like you're just tired of it. But the whole year you've been like, just, you know, just trying to survive until Christmas. You just go to every houses, like you eat there, and then you go to the next houses, eat there. It's like, you know.
So from a community perspective, did you guys kind of look out for each other?
Yeah, we did. We played a lot of football. I think as a community wise, I think we shared the same struggle, and we help. I think probably we helped one another. I probably, as going through, like, as a community, we just understand the because we didn't really have somebody like from, like, my memories, like, it's not like anybody was like at the top of other people. But I remember this it's a landlord, his house was quite big, so he owned, like, where we was renting, he owned the place there, so his house was quite big. But we would just work together and just we just deal with we had to deal with what we had to deal with every day. Yeah.
You know, it's funny, if we were to ask somebody that was born and raised in this country, did they have a good childhood? They'd be like, yeah, we got loads of presents, we got this, we got that, and that would bring a smile to their face. But when we're asking you, did you have a good childhood, you're saying, I had shelter, I had food, and that very clearly brings a smile to your face.
Hey, food. That's what you need, you know, every day. It's like, just eat, shelter, and that's probably the most important things in life, you know.
That's right. So things started to turn in 1996.
Yes.
So your mother was pregnant at the time.
Yes.
And I can imagine, as a sibling, you're probably excited about the fact that you've got another sibling to join the family.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, obviously your mother had complications, and she passed away. Do you remember how you felt at that time?
I had one memory because I was quite young. But I remember one time she was quite angry with my one of my siblings, and then after that I never actually spoke to her about it. But then she traveled to the city because we lived outside the city, so she traveled to the city to Kinshasa, so that's the capital, to see her parents. So from there she ended up being very sick. So we can't travel there because it's bad. The road are bad, and it costs a lot of money as well. So she went there. She was pregnant. I didn't know she was pregnant anyway. But she was pregnant because you're young. You don't really it does you don't really know stuff like that. So she went there, and she ended up being very sick. And we were just hearing news like how she doing, but we can't be there. We can't be there. So my dad had to leave the business to go and see her, to see, how she doing. And then she got really bad, and but she managed to give birth, and then unfortunately she couldn't make it. And then we heard the news, and I remember everyone in the house sitting around the house. Everyone are crying. For your young child, you don't really know what death is, so you're just looking around. You're like, why everyone are crying for? And then I remember I went to her bedroom, and I picked the picture of her, and I looked at it, and the picture told me something, but I didn't know what it told me. But later on in my life, I realized it shows me that I can't be there for you. And that kind of, and then I start crying. I mean, when I look at that picture as a young kid, I just look at it. I was like, that's it. You're like, you ain't gonna be here no more. So that's kind of I start crying with everyone else. It's just start crying, and then.
So that was the time that you came to that point of realization that your mother had gone.
Yeah, gone. Yeah.
Were you close with your mother?
I think so. Yeah. I don't have a lot of memory, but I think I was close because I got sick, not sick, but I lost a lot of weight, and that's the only time I probably say, even people around me saying, why are you losing so much weight? Because affected me in a bad way, because even everyone around me can see that, and also my sibling. I know it affected all of them, but the far I remember is the only time I was really, really sick is that. Like really, really, like my health was not good. That's the only time I can recall like it was quite bad.
Okay. We're gonna touch on the crux of this whole thing and why your mother's death plays such an important role in all of this.
Yeah.
But I want to ask a question before we go into it later on. At that point,
yeah,
were you being accused of your mother's death?
No, and at that point, not yet. Until I moved in England.
We're going to come to that. So I want to try and figure out where it started. But at that point, you weren't being accused of your mother's death.
It was.
You weren't being accused of being possessed. You weren't being accused of witchcraft, anything like that.
No, not at all. No.
So the next point is basically your auntie, right?
Yes.
So you've been told that.
Yes.
You're going to be moving to England with your auntie.
Yeah.
Were you excited?
Yes. It's weird. But as a kid, I remember I had this moment, like I believed that my adult life wasn't going to be there. It wasn't. I truly believed that. But then I had to move to the capital to meet my auntie. I never met her before.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So my uncle was already living here. So I had to meet his wife to come meet her, and then his wife and me come to England. So I had to travel from where I was born to the capital, and then from the capital I had to build this relationship.
From scratch.
From scratch, yeah. From the beginning.
And you was a child at this point, weren't you?
Yeah. So I had to build this bond with her, and I had to go be with her family, and so as I just was doing what my dad told me to, just do it. I didn't know the plan, but he just kept, because when I left, my dad never told my sibling anything. He just said, we're going to see your to the capital, and we'll be back. But that was the last. I think I remember we left like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then that's it, and that's it, and that's history now.
Was that the last time you saw your siblings?
Saw them. Yeah, that's the last time they saw me as well. Is that I just pack up every 5 o'clock in the morning. We go on the truck, and then we just left.
Did you know much about England and the culture and kind of what were you expecting anything?
No, I saw, when I went to the capital, I saw like on TV like the double deck buses and stuff like that. I saw stuff like that, but I thought I kind of get ideas like, oh, that's England, but it never really sink in until I moved here.
So how long was it from going to the capital until you eventually touched down in England?
I can't recall. It was when I got to the capital. Oh, how long from the capital to the to get to the capital? It was it like 3 days?
No, to get to England. So you've got to the capital of Congo.
Yeah.
And now, what was the period of time so that you came to England?
I'd probably say a year, because they had to do like paperwork and stuff like that. So and then I have to build this relationship with my aunt, and I have to build it, and then I remember the first time we were supposed to get to fly to England. Something happened. I think it's visa situation, and we couldn't travel, and then we had to wait for I don't know, like a month, and then we came back.
So it'd be, I mean, again, we're going to touch on it later on, but your auntie and your uncle, it would be fair to say that they were the instigators of your abuse. Yeah. However, at that time, when you'd first moved in with them, and it was just your auntie at that time because your uncle was in the UK.
Yeah.
What was your relationship like with your auntie?
I think it was alright, to be honest. It was alright. As a kid, you don't really deep in any. It's like you don't really understand what's going on, but you just go by what your parents are telling you, what my dad were telling me. So it was just like, he said, do that. Okay, cool, I'll do it. We build like relationship, but it was just, in a sense, like it was just what just to build a relationship where like, okay, my dad said do that, I'm doing it.
And plus she was your sole caregiver, right? Yeah. So obviously as a child you're going to be looking up to her.
Yeah.
As right, you're looking after me, so I'll do what you tell me to do.
Yeah. We had, I think we had a decent relationship, to be honest. Yeah, it was alright.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're a baby.
Yeah.
Essentially, you're a baby. She's an adult. You're none the wiser. You don't know any better.
So when you so then obviously you've come to England.
Yes.
What's your first recollection of being here?
It was first it was clean and cold.
Cold.
Because I'm used to like rain and hot.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So it's like, so I got here, it's like, and then I had to take a tube, and I was like, oh, this is different. It was just weird. And then I remember seeing the bus and the black taxi. Yeah, I remember seeing that. It's like, oh, this is different. And and then it was very quite unique.
And then obviously you going to school and having that language barrier, that must have been really difficult for you to adapt. Not just the weather. I mean, the weather is horrible. But if we talk about it from a serious perspective, you've obviously got to go into education, which is great, right? Which obviously coming from that background is great, but it must have been really difficult because you can't communicate and you've got to start from scratch again to build your network.
It is. It's like I remember my first day when I went in, it was just like, it's weird because I don't know the language, and people they're talking to you. You're like, oh, what they saying? So all I can do is just smile, you know? And then it's like, they're like, no. Yeah, okay. Even if someone's throwing me, I'll be like, oh, okay. You know, I didn't have a clue, and I thought if I just do something, they kind of get what I'm, what I'm saying, but I didn't have a clue. But it was this girl. She was French, and that's how she was quite helpful like because Congo you speak French, you know, and it was quite helpful because she was in my class, and I remember just sitting there, and just look at the school here and in Congo is like
completely different.
It's just different, and you're just sitting there thinking, wow.
What was different about it?
In Africa.
Well, straight away you said that they would beat you in school. You're not going to get that over here.
You get beat, and even like the building is like unfinished building, and it's just, and then you don't have no toilet, nothing. It's like all the whatever business you do in the toilet, you literally can just, the smell comes in, you know. It's just not place for somebody to study, like to learn and actually focus. It's just not. So you come here, it's just like, wow. It's just that you go, you get lunch. I think, wow, because you could get lunch during the lunch. I'm thinking that you get breakfast, you could have dinner.
Were you thinking you had to give the lunch back the next day?
It was just, because what I'll do, I noticed like it's promise. It's like I don't have to worry about food anymore. Yeah. I'm good with that now. So I can go home. It's food there. Yeah. Yeah. I always eat double. So you see, like after school, and when they dishes the food, and then you wait until like when everyone eat, and then they'll call for like double. Yeah. And I just like, oh.
So let's paint the picture, right? Let's paint the picture before we go into the serious element of your story. Yeah. You're 7 years old. Yeah. You've left your siblings behind. Yeah. Your mother's passed away. You're not in contact with your father. You're living with an auntie who you don't really know, that is your caregiver, but you're building a relationship. And then all of a sudden you've been picked up from a position in a country where you're hand to mouth to then be brought to England. Yeah. So all of that has happened within the space of, say, 2 years, 3 years. Everything's very overwhelming. Yeah. You're trying to become accustomed to everything around you and everything that's happened to you up until that point. Yeah. When did the abuse start?
Well, when I got here, I was like 8. I was about 8, and the abuse started. It probably started because when I got here, because I was trying to understand what's going on here, like the country, all of that, just trying to deal with things. I was crying quite a lot when I got here as well. Even I remember one of my family members saying, "What's wrong with this kid? Why is he keep crying for?" But because I don't know, it's just so much going on in my head. But then I think in 2000, I was in year 6. I was in year 6. I think year 6. That's when it started. When we moved, because we were trying to get a house, because we was living in a bed set. So we had to go to a council to get 2-bedroom flat house. So it was constantly, we moved there. So then when we got up like I think it's 3-bedroom flat, and then that's when I think in 2002 or 3, I think that's when it started. I think I was in year 6. I was in year 6. and that's when it started. And because what happened is when my aunt said she's having dreams, and she wasn't like quite in the dream was bothering her a lot. So it was like so it's like now this church we was going to is like it was a lot of it was big, it's huge back there. And then I remember when she was talking on the phone with the pastor, and the pastor must told her, "Oh, there's a kid in the house. She's doing this, like making her have the bad dreams and stuff like that." And then at the time she had a young boy and me, and I was okay. I kind of felt like it was coming my way. Yeah. So eventually I go. When it came, I wasn't really. I felt it. I just believe. I felt it.
What were these dreams that she was having?
Someone harm her, to kill her. It was to deal with. It was just dark dreams. So it literally, when she get up, and you can see the effect on her. Because she's a very religion person, innit? So
there's a couple of things here actually. So what the first thing that shocks me is that it was a pastor based in the UK, obviously with a Western ideology, used to the comforts of Western society, that was then using religion to almost manipulate your auntie to think that you were the problem, that you were possessed, that you had an evil spirit inside of you. Now this links back to something known as kindoki, right?
Yes.
So what is kindoki? Just give us a bit of a...
Kindoki is Kindoki is somebody that they'll give you a food, and then what happened is when you go to bed, and then when you in your dream, and then what happened is that person gave you that like let's say like biscuit, they will come ask for it, and then what happened is, and they say, "Oh, well, I ate it." So and then they say, "Okay, I want it back." So obviously I can't give you back because I would eat the food. So and then he said, and then they was okay, cool, but I want you to sacrifice somebody like somebody's closer to you, so you need to sacrifice somebody. So okay, and that's how it works. And also when you fly in your spirit world, is like you use you see peanut the peanut cover, so you that's like a plane during your spirit. When you're kindoki, in your other world is like you're flying, and that's where you go do your dirty work and do all of this stuff. And
it's funny, you're smart, you can look back and laugh about it, and I can see that coming through. However, this is something that affects so many children. If they lose, if families are in a situation where they lose a loved one, like how you lost your mother, culturally they can't accept that death has been done by natural causes. It then gets linked back to blaming the child through kindoki, right?
Yes.
I'm how you just explained that, and it's I love the fact that you're smiling and laughing, because you think you clearly now well, a long time ago you had a realization, thinking, hold on a minute, a peanut, a plane flying around, like it just it's to a lot of people, they were like, come on, you know this is as a joke, right? This isn't happening. But the fact that these religious people in your family and your culture as a whole, this is gospel to them, and it's it's all black and white to them. If this has happened, it's because of this.
Because of that,
Yes,
that's
crazy.
scary.
It's crazy. Do you know, it's funny because in the sense that every week when we have somebody on, the subject of spirituality and religious beliefs always comes up. Even though we've tried to shy away from it, it always comes up from a positive perspective.
Yes.
But your story is really about how faith can become so toxic, and those beliefs can become so toxic that they lead to child abuse
Yes.
and the situation that you had to suffer. From that moment in time when that pastor had that conversation with your auntie, did you feel from that day totally isolated?
Yeah. It was. I remember when we went to we went to church. Actually, when I got the news like you're actually a witch, I remember we went to the church, and then after the service, we sat with the pastor. We sat there, and then we just talked. We sat there, me and other family members, and then he asked me how I sleep and whatever, and I told him, this is how I sleep. Sometimes I have nightmares. Sometimes I just sleep and I get up in the morning. And then he said, okay. And then he said, do you know what kindoki is? I said, yeah, I know what kindoki is because I've seen it happen in Africa. So it's like, okay, you got it. And then that moment I was like, damn.
So he just straight away
Yeah.
just asking you about how you sleep. From that, he said to your face, "You've got it."
Yeah. It was.
And this is in the UK. This has happened here.
Yes.
How old were you?
I think this is my going to year 7 now.
So you'd be like 10 or 11,
Yeah.
maybe
11,
12.
Yeah, 11, 12. So it was just like, wow. And I remember like, damn. Because I know the consequence what can happen to you. So it's like, wow. It was like a heavy, it was just like, I'll probably say after I lost my mom, that experience, it was just like, it was so heavy to deal with. And then that, it was just like, whoa, it was just like 2 moments that is so heavy. Like, you can, and I was like, I remember when we finished, when we start walking to the station to get back home, it was just like, I was thinking, what's going to happen now? You know?
Were you fearful for your life at that point?
I don't know if I know it's something bad, but I don't know if I to be honest, I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know the exact what was gonna happen. All I can just say from here now, just don't expect anything like good. It's just gonna go downhill for me.
So what was you've been diagnosed with this condition, and obviously you've got it because a pastor's told you, so so it must be true.
Yeah.
So what is home and school life like moving forward from that point?
School. I think that only school was like my escape.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it was escape, and also we had a youth club in the community, so it was like my escape. So but it was at time. I mean, when youth clubs close, it's like I'm most of the time like on the street, and I don't want to go home because if I go home again, just shout, just somebody's blaming something going wrong because of me. So I don't want to be at home anymore. So
I heard you say somewhere actually that you used to ride the bus.
Yes.
And you used to stay on the bus?
In the bus, yeah. Just during the night, go in the bus, just stay there. I used to do it like weekends because it's funny because I go to school like normal. People see me in school like normal, I'm fine. And then like weekends, I don't want to stay there. And then what I do is get in the bus, just drive to the end of the bus stop, and then get to another bus and drive to the end of the bus stop.
Just so you didn't have to go home?
No. It even was really cold and freezing, and they was just, I'd rather be outside than be in that house, because I didn't want to be there.
What was going on in that house? Now, one thing that we haven't touched on that I think we need to talk about is your uncle was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And he was very abusive from the day you got here.
Yeah.
What were you escaping from on the bus and in school? What was happening within the home?
It was whenever he drinks, it's like he's quite abusive towards his wife, and even he's just sometimes police come in, and then they would to get him to calm down, and it's just and then it will come. What he'll do is he will kick my my bed. I'll be sleeping and will kick my bedroom door, and then sometimes when I'm sleeping, and then it will kick and just get up, and they just start shouting and shouting and shouting and shouting. It never really like hit me, but the thing is, I start thinking like, okay, I have to get smart here. So what is I had to, let's say that's the door like that side, and then my bed like just here. So what I did is I put my bed here, so whenever he kicked the door, I'll go to the other side. So if he's trying to get up to the top of the bed, I can run around and I can get up through the door. So because I know I'm quickening him. So that's how I start thinking, because I never seen somebody drunk before. Not just drunk and being quite, abusive language, all of that stuff, and towards his wife, all of that. I never seen that before. For me, it's just like it's something new to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to see someone like that. So I don't know how to deal with it. Because I remember the first time when it happened, because we went partying and we came back, and he was being quite, just shouting, all of that stuff. So I said, what's wrong with him? Because I never seen someone drunk before. And then we went in the house, and I remember I was so scared. And then we went in the bedroom. When they went to their bedroom, I just got off my bedroom. I just ran outside to the petrol station, and I sat there, and I think two ladies came to me and asked me what's going on. And I was just scared. I was just my uncle was just drunk, and I don't know how to deal with it. And the police came. It's just
But it wasn't just the abuse from your uncle. You had pastors coming to the house to perform exorcisms on you throughout this period.
Yeah.
What was that like? What does that look like?
He was praying. He was praying a lot, and praying, and the other sibling coming in and out, like just one seeing, because they know that what rich is, kindoki is. So they was coming a lot, but it just like telling me, oh, you have to let that life go, or you're not gonna have nothing to do with me. So everyone start picking the side. So he will pray, and so it's like it's me against them now. It's just like I'm on my own, so I ain't got no one in my corner now.
Yeah.
It's just like, so what do you do with this? My only hope was, I don't know. Our beginning was that it's just like I don't have no one, so how can I deal with this? So he will pray, and then he told my uncle and my aunt that his problem is bigger than that. We have to send him back to Congo to get help. So I thought, okay. And he said his problem is too big, because he said I have kids in spiritual life. I got a wife. I got 2 children.
That you have.
Yeah.
That you have.
Yeah, and then he said, I'm a chief, like big in that life. So obviously your problem is huge. You can't stay. I can't deal with it. We have to take you back.
So you're being abused by your uncle.
Yeah.
You're being isolated by the family that's meant to be looking after you.
Yeah.
And you've got the priest coming in and performing these exorcisms. Would it be fair to say that you went from, like how you explained, being fearful of what's going to happen to actually accepting it?
Yes. I come to a point just like, you know what? Yeah, this is it now. Because I did not fight back, but just like, because whenever they have a dream, like during like night, like one night, I probably say, because they had my uncle and his wife had a young kid. So that kid normally would cry like midnight. So what happened? They were used to, when that kid is crying, they will come. Well, my uncle come to my room saying, "I just saw you there. You're scaring my kid," and sometimes I had to like stay up like during the night, like stay up just to prove them wrong. It's just that, and sometimes my eyes just can't shut. It's like I have to. And when my uncle do come in, is saying, "Oh, I saw you in my bedroom trying to scare my kid." I was like, "No, I've been up awake for whole this time, so I don't know who you saw in there." So stuff like that I was doing is just like just to prove them wrong, but they don't want to believe me. But that's the it was and then it came to a point like, if you don't want to believe me, what, it's fine. I just, what, I just have to just accept it. And if they would say like, "Oh, something happened," say, "Yeah, I did it."
So you actually got to a point where you were agreeing with them and saying, "Yeah, it's me." Yeah. But did you believe it was? Was there anything in your mind where you thought, "Am I possessed? Is this actually real?"
You start believing it. You say, "Yeah, I actually possessed." Because sometimes I could walk around the road, like just on the street, whatever, just like kind of paranoid. All this voice and stuff is just like going in your head.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm speechless. Honestly.
I'm listening to this, and I'm thinking, I wish we could go back in time, and me being adult, and I can take you out of that situation. I can save you, because straight away, and I'm so glad, because hopefully whoever hears this, if anyone can relate to this, then they'll get either some sort of clarity, or they can give this information to their friends, family, whoever.
Yeah.
Straight away, I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Has your auntie and your uncle not said, could this be us? Straight away, you got your conscious mind being played around with. Your uncles I'm talking about, because he's consuming so much alcohol, so he's not fully aware of what he's doing, and abusive to his wife. It makes so much sense to me anyway. Well, okay, I get why she's having these dreams about being killed, because she's got this abusive, crazy husband. So, but it's like we spoke about earlier off mic. Ignorance is bliss, and she has this blind loyalty to her husband, who's the nearest person. This nephew I've just got from Congo. Tell you what, he's to blame. And it's kind of got the perfect situation of kindoki that they can just put on you. But the fact that you came to a point where, I guess, your resilience had gone from here to just and gone, and you're happy. I'm not going to say happy. You're in a state of mind where you're just willing to accept the blame. How did that feel, man? Like, that's
is this? I got to like a dark place, like really like, and then I started asking myself, is this life? Is this that life?
Did you think that this is my life now for the rest for the time?
Yeah, because it just got to a point. It's just like the people supposed to protect me, they're not there. It's just like, obviously my dad, who is far away, and I spoke to him for the phone.
What was the communication like? Because did you feel let down by him?
No, he was. I felt as a father, I think now I got it. What he did because he needed opportunity for me and also for my sibling back there. But back there, it's just like, of course you feel like kind of let down, because he's supposed to protect me, and he couldn't be there. And even he was phone talking, like saying, "I don't believe you have it," but he's far away from me, so I can't access him. So it's like, for me, it's like, what's the point talking to him on the phone where he's so far away, and what should it's just, I'm dealing it now. So it's like, I have to go through it every single day. Imagine, like, this is not like something like you just turn off. It's just literally, I have to think about the next day. What can happen next day? What can happen the next day?
Unbelievable.
So it's just like, it was tough to be honest. It was tough on him as well, because
I bet.
Do you know, people from obviously different ethnicities and different cultures see this country of ours as an outlet, and a platform to success, and being able to be taken out of that situation of like how you said earlier on, trying to find your next meal, to be provided security. And I don't think you're definitely not the first example, and there's examples out there of exactly this, where I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, all right, I'm not trying to speak on your behalf, but it seems as though your father's innocence of the situation was based around the fact that my son is in a first world country and has so much experience, opportunity. If he's suffering, it's fine, because in the long term, that country will give him the opportunities, not knowing how it was affecting your mental health. Am I right in saying? I'm not making any assumptions, am I?
That's it, yeah. And that is funny because you said that, because I remember, I think one of my goals before my mom passed away was like help asking his brothers to help one of his kid. So that was one of our goal. That's one of my sibling or member of my family told you it was one of her goal for one of her child to come here. So it's like it was a wish, and then it could have, it was
a blessing's kind of turned into a curse. With regards to the exorcisms, I want to go into depth a bit more into those, if you're comfortable, and the severity of those, and what lengths they went to get this kindoki out of you.
What they did, it was I think they couldn't go. What the pastor did is he came in the house like praying, like they did play a lot, trying to get the demon off me. We went to quite a lot of
Was
churches.
there any physical aspects of an exorcism?
Not physical. No, it was just like when you go to a church, they will tell the whole church, and then you have to stand in front of the church, and then the whole church pray for you and take the demon off you and all of that, like the pastor doing like this and just shaking her head, all of that stuff, and just like get the demon out, all of that stuff. So it's like it wasn't abusive, because I think they kind of know they can't be physical on me because of the Europe. I think they were smart enough not
if
to.
they left marks on you, the school would have picked it up.
Yeah, the school would
but
have
then
picked
but
it
then
up,
equally in that situation, in that exorcism, how you've explained it, you're being ostracized in front of your whole community. This is not something behind closed doors. It's now become outside, look everybody. He has a demon.
The whole community knew about it as well, like my friends and people I went to school with, and our home was hard already. Now the whole community knew it, and then that just like, God damn, is like, how do you deal with that, And I don't know, it was so much. But it's funny because it's like in the same time I find strength. It's like I was in my lowest, because I remember a situation when one of my family member came to the house. They was having a bad dream, so they came to visit me, or visit, my aunt and my uncle. So they came, and then they was like, "Where's that boy? Where's that boy?" So I was outside playing with my friends. So where I live is literally the park is just outside, and I was playing, and then I saw somebody from afar coming, and I started to kind of recognize that figure. They're coming close. I just, oh God. And then they came close to coming. And then I was just like, oh, what they're gonna say now? They just shouting. I saw you, trying to kill me, this, that, blah, blah. And then now all my friends, they're all like born here, and they're thinking, what is going on? And then they said, get in the house now, go in the house. Then I walked away, and then that person told everybody about what kindoki is. And then I went in the house, and then they came back. So I didn't know what he told them, but I came in the house, and then we went in the kitchen. It was my aunt and then the other family member, and then she went in a drawer and put a knife on, like literally put a knife from a drawer and put it in my face. And I stood there, and then they put it like that. It was just like I was shaking, crying. It was just like I'm thinking, wow. Because it's like I was ready. Like it's just like, you know what, do what you gotta do. It's just like I can't die. It's just I'm done.
Did you want to die?
I was just to be, I was done with it. I was shaking, crying and shit. But the hard part it was that coming from somebody that my blood, and it was so hard to take. And then I remember walked, and then I walked out. I smashed. I was there. Smashed. I closed the door, quite in force. I was crying and shaking, and then I remember I walked, and then I walked out, and then I went to. It was like a football pitch in the close where we live, and I walked up and down, like saying, and somehow I said to myself, I wanna do something in my life. I wanna make it. I wanna do something. I wanna, show them what I can do, whatever.
Unreal, man.
And
Unreal. That you still felt,
yeah,
after everything, you still felt, you know what? I'm going to get over this.
yeah, I'm gonna get over it. And but I didn't know, after all of that, adrenaline is going through your body, and then after that, and then reality kick, like, oh, so where do I start? Because where do I start? Where do I start building it? How do I do it? And then after I walked away from that, and then I went to see my friend in the park where this family member told them about a thing, and then they all came to me like, oh, are you a witch? Whoa.
Oh my God.
It's just like, after all of that, I bought, and then I calmed down, and then it just then this is just like, oh God, I find strength somehow, and then it brought me back down again. It's just like,
and that was coming now
God.
from your friends, not from the community.
No, community,
you've talked about this before in other interviews where you've said you wanted to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Now you're 10, 11 years old now, right? So
Yeah.
you wanted to commit suicide.
Yeah.
That was your way out. And the police was called.
Yeah.
And the police turned around to you and said, you are wasting our time.
Yes. Because at that time I don't think it wasn't known in the early days. It wasn't known, but I told them like what is witchcraft, but to them it was just like, what are you talking about? Is now I get it, because obviously when somebody, you don't know nothing, you don't know something, or how somebody's feeling or what they're going through, when you don't have education on it, you can see what they're saying. It don't make sense. So I get it now. But they did say that like you're wasting that time. But it's good they did find me that night, because I just was just like looking for I just needed help, just somebody take me from that mindset where just I can live another day like next day, because it's like, that's bad. But the thing is, it's like I just need sometime when you're in a dark place, you just need a light.
Yeah.
So it gave me time to reset.
Yeah.
And there was that, they gave me that, reset, and they didn't know it, but that's what I needed. I just needed to get reset so I can wake up tomorrow with fresh mind and think different.
Man, you are so forgiving of everybody in your story. It just comes across like you're like, oh, well, I understand this, and I understand why they did this, and I understand why they did that. Where does that come from? Where does that forgiveness still, after everything you went through, where does that come from?
I think part of it is, it's like my dad is like that. He's like, he's like, I never hear him complain about things, because he had to deal with, like, all of us trying to provide meal for a day. So I can't recall him worrying about things. But I think it was an occasion that happened when I thought, let me help him out. And I remember I came from school. It was like 12 o'clock. And then I used to like fake sleep so he could give me some money to go buy some food. So it worked. And then it didn't work after that. You realize that. But then in that moment I realized, how can I help him for him not to worry about me?
Wow.
And that's how it clicked in my head. It said, okay, I was just gonna go my way just to take care, just to help him out. And I think that's how it came out about. It's just like they must have a lot in their plate, you know. So how can I help them to just ease off the pressure a little bit? So that's how I move through life, you know, just try to understand people and behavior, and you know.
So we've just talked about quite a lot of dark stuff, you know. I want to get onto some light stuff. I want to get onto some nice things now.
Yes.
So what does life look like for you now? You're a motivational speaker.
Yes.
The topic we're discussing today, is that something, obviously we know you've done many interviews discussing this as well. Is it something that you're trying to educate your community on a lot more?
Yes. But the thing is, I didn't set up to do this. Because I remember when I went coastal. I remember when I was doing this apprenticeship in pen and decorating 2 years, and it was just like work home, and I thought this can't be just the way, just to leave, you know, keep doing the same thing. And then I had the opportunity to go abroad to do 10-week volunteering. So that when I went there, it just kind of like, it changed my mind. It just, I came back, and then I managed to meet Richard Huskin. He's the guy. He was running my story. He was in charge. He was an expert on witchcraft, because he lived in Congo for a while. So he had kind of knowledge about it. So he was running my case. So I thought, I had this idea. I said, okay, what if I can go back to all these people who have, you know, helped me along the way, just to thank them. And then I managed to find him through internet, and then I emailed him. I said, look, I just want to thank you, and blah, blah, blah. And then he messaged me straight back, and he said, look, yeah, let's meet up. And then we met up, and from there, and I just said, thanks for what you did back there, you know. And then he said, he was talking about the BBC, but I never really looking past it. Like I wasn't really thinking like, what's the BBC gonna do now? He just said, you can tell your story, blah 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 blah. I was like, no, that's cool. And then I went away, and then the BBC contacted me, and then they managed to put something together, and then I told my story. But and then that's how I start doing this. It wasn't like planned. It was anything out of plan. But I always knew from young that I want to help people. But I wasn't sure what it was to help people, what it was. So I guess this picked me, you know, it picked me along the way.
It's unfortunate that you had to face all that suffering to then become a beacon of light for people suffering from the same things. One of the things that people are going to want to be questioning at this point is how the cycle stopped. Now, I want to look at this from a different perspective, and I want to try and touch on it very, very quickly from your auntie's perspective. So she's having all these dreams.
Yes.
She's being influenced and manipulated by the pastor, believing that you have this demon.
Yes.
So much so that she went to your school and sat down with your teacher and said, we need to send him back to the Congo to do an exorcism because nothing is working here. Yes. So she believed it that much to approach a teacher and say, he has a demon in him. He needs to go back to the Congo. Yes. And that was actually your saving grace.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. That was my hope. That was my light, I can say. Is like, I was counting in school, like they can do something, like if anything I can find light for it. It was that, is because I remember when we went to the school, because their plan was, because the pastor said you need to get him out to go back to school and back to Africa. So we went to school. I remember it was my head teacher, it was me, my aunt, I think my uncle was there as well. I'm not sure. So we sat there, told her all of this, and then the teacher was just like, "What that?" You know, the dad was like, "What are you talking about?"
I wish being a fly on the wall. Then, like, they must have been looking at your eyes saying, "No, you need to go back to Congo because there's something wrong with you."
Yeah, it was just mad. She's the teacher was like, it was so much for her to take. It's just like, I can't, because they wanted the letter to write to take him out of school. Because they can't just take him out of school because school gonna be like, what happened to him? So they took me, and then the teacher said, I can't. The head teacher said, I can't write you a letter because I don't know where you're gonna take this kid. So, and then she said, only thing I can do is that I can get you through social service. And then that's how social service came involved. And then as they start coming in the house and like, you know, talking to me and just understand it. And back there, social service, there was like, it was new to them as well. They have to do a lot of research and lots of homework. And yeah, so school and social service and school kind of that was my hope. Yeah, that was my hope.
Because then you went into foster care.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think these are your words. You know, that was the best experience of your childhood after everything that happened.
I think that's my best. It was my best foundation to be here now, because I think when I went to 2 foster care, and then one, it was near West Ham, near Old Stadium, and then the one they moved me closer where my old school was, my secondary school. So I stayed there for like 5 years. So I had that foundation I could build on.
What were your foster parents like?
We're still in touch, and we were cool. We're so tight. We were close.
Yeah,
we're close, and she always worry about me, but I just say I'm cool. She's like, "Oh, worry, how you doing?" I said, "I'm cool." I just say, "I'm fine," but we're good. We're really, really good.
How do they? You said it's the best kind of time of your life in a way. How did they make it? How did they help you through?
I can go to. It's like there has PS. Is it PS2?
Yeah.
They have PS2. You know, food.
You was able to be a child, right?
Yeah.
You was able to be a child and not have
worry.
that stress, have that worry. No one
just
kicking your door in. No one
just,
accusing you of anything.
Yeah.
You was allowed to be you.
Yeah, that's 5 years. I just had to just be me, play computer.
You had to cram a lot in 5 years, didn't you?
There's a lot. Yeah, and I had to do therapy as well. I had to go therapy, and I had to do quite a lot of stuff with the social service. Helped me out. My social worker. I stayed together for 5 years. We were together for 5 years, and she done a lot for me. So yeah, I'm quite lucky as well to have people like them, you know, to put me in the right. I already had the drive to go for it, to leave, but I just needed somebody that, you know,
you needed support.
You
needed support.
You know, help me out, you know, to get there.
How much does your faith play a part in your life at the moment? Would you identify yourself still as a Christian?
No, I don't see faith. No, I'm not really in church anymore, because when it was like something that your parents told we wake up. Like that was a way of life in Africa. It's like you have to go to church. You can't argue. You have to. So you never will have a choice, you know. You go about, just do that because we said your parent told you so. And I never really crushed in it. I never really had my opinion on it. I think looking back on it, it has played like a role. It played because to keep me grounded, you know, it played something. But I won't say like
But I guess your experience of Christianity has been a bad one, right?
Yeah.
Because then you have to realize Christianity in the UK and Christianity in the Congo are completely two different things, right? So I guess you kind of felt let down. I'm not going to say from religion as a whole, but I guess you would have felt let down by
Yeah.
Christianity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Something that they're supposed to help you out, but it's like I think religion is there like to help people,
100%.
not to
give you
use-
grounding and
yeah,
foundation
the
and morals
foundation
and
and
ethics,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
not to be something
Yeah.
that's so toxic. And this leads us then on to the fact that you're a massive advocate and campaigner
Yeah.
to highlight the fact that this does happen.
Yes.
It is happening
Yeah.
in this country amongst us right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, there was 15-year-old, is it Christy Banu,
Yes.
which was
yes.
a few years back,
Oh yes. Yes.
down in North London, who was killed
Yeah.
by his caregivers.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Exactly this situation. We were
Yeah.
talking earlier on about a statistic that only 37 cases have been highlighted or come to the police's attention
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
But the reality is that there are thousands. Would thousands be a fair number?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's under the thing, but yeah, I'll probably there's a lot of cases.
It's probably even more
Yeah.
because I doubt this is a statistic that we could go on the UK government website and find it clearly.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
There you go.
You wouldn't, because there's two elements. Number one is exactly how the authorities didn't take you seriously. I can imagine
Yeah.
it's probably a lot better now,
Yeah, you're way
but
better. Yeah.
but it's probably still happens in certain areas. The other thing is, who has, excuse my language, the balls at that age to go and report it?
No,
Because
it's,
even you came to a point of acceptance
yeah.
that was your life. That this is life.
Yeah, because I do quite a lot with now. It's like so much awareness, quite a lot of awareness with it. Is I do with like workshop with like social workers and teachers, and you know, I got to go to speak to them about this kind of stuff, so they can be any kid is going through it, they can see the sign. Because for me, it's like I met a girl when I had the chance to go to United Nations to speak about this, how we can help the whole world believe in this stuff. So it was a girl that told her story about being a witch, and what happened to her is just like, it's crazy, because it's like I would say I was lucky, but her two hands would be chopped off. You know, I think is a video after the meeting in the United Nations, we done it together, my speech. But with her, I sat there because I had to tell she tell her first in like a group of like all the education people are running all of this stuff, their project.
Mhm.
We had to it was she sat there next to me, so she told her first. I was like, I sat next to her, I was like, whoa, because she can't literally do anything, like both her hands is off and she can't. And I was quite lucky not to, that happened to me. She probably had it hard.
Yours was more emotional abuse, whereas hers was clearly physical.
And you know, and I sat there like, I don't know what, you know what I'm saying? It was that hard to take. But now I think back there, I didn't have, you see what the work is going on now with, you know, with the social service and the police, and it's way better now because I couldn't access that.
Yeah.
Any kid is going through it now, or, you know, if they could just like really like Google or access, they can find something else. There is a lot, like a little bit help. I won't say like it's a thing big, but there is something there where authority are quite aware of it.
So where would, if somebody is suffering
Yes.
from that and they're going through the same experiences,
Yes.
what would you say to them? What do they need to do right now? How can they snap out of that mindset?
I think it is tough because because how I was as a child, we're all different in it, how we handle stuff. But I'll probably, what I realize, what people that play very important role in my life to sport, they just show me that you matter, you care. They just showed me that you matter, we care for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's, and they was there to listen, and they was there to help me, the opportunities, and just to help me to they was there for me, and that's what kind of get me like, oh yeah, somebody out there actually care. So for me, we're just caring, and I think for them, they just need to be like, not everyone can come in your life, hurt you. There will be some people who come in your life, they don't want to hurt you. They want to help you to get out there. They would want to show the support. They're not there to harm you. They're not, but obviously when somebody go through trauma, it's like, who can I trust?
Yeah.
I get that.
But it's like you said, I guess it's such a hard thing to be able to say, this is what needs to be done to solve the situation, because for you was, even at your lowest, you still had that resilience there, and to be determined to be like, no, I'm going to make something of myself. Because you said you had suicidal thoughts, but you didn't follow through with that. Whereas there'll be some people that will go through exactly the same that you went through, maybe not even as severe, but their mental capacity would not be as resilient as yours, and they would kill themselves, and like you said, it's about having people that, for me, because I'm racking my brain here thinking, how can this subject be tackled in the best way? And I think you'd have to look at the demographic in schools and what cultures this occurs in the most frequently, and then I'm thinking it's got to be something in the national curriculum, or having a specific person in a school to talk about this subject. And it's like, you come to me, and it might even be a case where kids get taken away from their caregivers, parents, guardians, whoever is looking after them, and put into foster care to hopefully flourish like you have, and make something of their life.
But actually, one of the things that inspires me a lot about your story is the fact that you've gone through all this trauma as a child, and like Courtney's just nailed, right, that wasn't in place for you. It wasn't there, right? But you still sit here overcoming all those mental health challenges, all that trauma, all those physical challenges, and you can still sit here with a smile on your face. That's truly inspirational, and not just that, to be able to go out and help people. I think you're an incredible human being. Thank you so much for coming on.
Really
sharing our story, sharing your story even.
It's been amazing. I appreciate you so much.
So that is episode 15. I lost track. I mean, I was just so engrossed in that story. It's unbelievable. Guys, if anybody is suffering from anything like that, then obviously, there are obviously people out there that will care, and authorities that you can reach out to. Don't suffer alone. This is the Leading Minds podcast, episode 15. We'll be back next week with another guest and another story.